Landy, you got that part right.
What'd you say?
Sharing in the chat. We are live.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are on the final episode of this week's version of Ignite Your Soul Connection. And we are so excited because, when we started this work this week, it seemed like, oh my goodness, we have to get through this. And now that we're through it, we're so happy that we have had a chance to share with you. And then today, we want to leave you with some solutions, ways of actually providing for yourself and your family. So several of the coaches have joined me, and we're going to actually share some downloads with you and everything. So what I want you to prepare for, I want you to kind of look and see, what is it for yourself? What are at least three things that you actually took away for yourself this week? And we're going to ask that question of each of the coaches as well. So as they come in, I'm going to have them introduce themselves, and they've already went through all of their history and stuff if you saw them early in the week. If you didn't, just go back and look. But we also every time went through our cosmic signatures. So go back and look at that too. But we'll probably talk about that a little bit today. So let us start with our senior most coach, and that would be Dr. Tammy. Greetings, Dr. Tammy. Are you coming in? Did she freeze on me? Oh, did Dr. Tammy just freeze? Dr. Tammy is in the mountains of Costa Rica. She may have just froze. So we're go to the next senior most, and that's between either Kiana and did you there, Tammy? You there? Okay. All right. So
Can you hear me?
there
Can you
you
hear me now?
I can hear you now. Hey, Dr.
Thank you.
Tammy, you were
How are you?
superb on the other night. Thank you so much.
Oh my goodness. Thank you, Musha. So you always make me look good.
Well, we all make each other look good. That's kind of like our mode of operandi.
I love it. Thank you.
So, this week you spoke about health as wealth, right? So, and
Yes.
that's probably we use you for that SME in every one of our productions because we know you are the health authority. But for yourself, if you had three things as you looked at this week, what are three things that you got out of this week's conversation for yourself that you maybe didn't anticipate getting, or you're excited to see a different version of yourself, anything like that? Just to kind of share.
Yeah. Yes. Well, Musha Sue, all the coaches were absolutely amazing. And every time I get on Ignite Your Soul, every solstice that we do this, I'm always learning something new. So I have a lot of notes because when Alanda and Kiana kicked it off and then it
Yes.
just kept going. But I like to thank Alanda first of all for reintroducing the term BIPOC because
Yes. Yes.
because I'm so accustomed to, as a Black, American woman, speaking of the Black community, but I want to be inclusive.
Yes.
So that definitely helped me on a professional level. And just, overall, when I am visualizing and thinking about the community at large and just making sure that I'm inclusive. So thank you again for that reminder. Um, Shay has talked about family and just reminded me of, for one, as the matriarch of, my family, I have one daughter and I have three grandchildren. And just the importance of the communication, the importance of modeling the importance of the self-discipline. And then it rolled into Lotus's knowledge and what she talked about on, I think that was on Wednesday, just the importance of constantly being aware of not only of the YouTube University that we have going on as far as Masterforce Academy and going back and what Ushaya says, recapitulation, and
Yes.
just making sure that we are not so, I don't want to say elevated, but I'm 15 years in, so in some cases I may think, okay, yeah, I remember that. But then when we go back and we look at the YouTube videos, and we rehearse and then we recapitulate and all of that. So I think the combination of Ushaya and Lotus on top of that just really helped support me in Sankofa, going back and getting it
Yeah.
and re-implementing it, because this is it's bigger than me. This is about my future generation. So that was big. And then it was something that you said, Mushu Sue, a term you used, and I said it was spiritual laziness. We were having some conversations surrounding that, and that was like an aha moment for me. And being able to, again, not to come from a place of judgment, but more a place of awareness of what has happened and what is currently happening, and how to tap into my spiritual practice in order to know how to encourage in a different way and coach in a different way.
Yeah.
Because that's just not a term that I just had ever even thought about, was spiritual laziness. So yeah, I could go on and on. Kiana like kicked me in the gut with a few things, but for the most part, that's all.
Yeah, that's why Dr.
Because of
Tammy
time.
asked 3 things.
Right. I was like, I can't keep going.
Every time we finish a series, I'm like, that's a whole book. That's a whole book. This is a whole book. This entire week is a whole book. So,
Amazing.
just going through the notes, I was like, oh wow, we have stuff here.
Tons. So
Wonderful.
Grateful to you all, coaches. Thank you.
Yes. So now let's go to Alanda, the next coach in line of seniority. What are the 3 things you have, Landy?
Oh,
what were you getting ready to do? What were you getting? You came in bebopping.
Wait, I had them, but then I started listening, and then I just nothing.
Forgot what the question was.
I did, but I can say what I took away from this week is the time, managing our time, being still, listening, the importance of who we are and we are, I guess that's who we are and how our actions impacts others. That's what I gathered from what this conversation is, and our actions impact everybody, right? Whether we know it or not, but to be more mindful of it. And that's like my biggest takeaway is just managing the time, because I call myself a multitasker, and they say it's ADHD, but I will start one thing, I'm cleaning up, and I go into a whole nother room and say, oh, and start doing something else, knowing I got to go back to this. And and so that I've been more mindful into keeping still and knowing that I need to complete this. Consistency has been coming up. And to me, that's what I've been saying. The thread of this whole week is consistency is what get us into the wealth, right? The wealth of health, the money, the family, the appreciation, the time, consistency. And time is everlasting, right? And time is even though it's a human constraint or whatever, how they want to phrase it, but it's still an essence of something that we need to really understand being in this physical body, that time is still a thing, right? It's a thing, but we also have to be mindful of how we use it. And consistent. And if you're consistently spiritually lazy, right? If you're spiritually lazy consistently, you're not going to get any results. And I think that is one of the biggest the things that I realized listening to everybody this week is we're all saying the same thing when it comes to, in our expertise, but the consistency. And if you want the results that you really work, you got to put in the work. You got to show up. You got to be accountable. You got to do all this. So that's what my one thing is consistency. And that is something that I've been working on, that I've been dealing with most of my life, consistency. And that has been popping up all week. That's all I've been hearing.
And you know why you would have a challenge with that? Because of the way that we have been taught to think of Geminis, when actually Geminis are very brilliant. But if you're taught to divide yourself, right, to be over here, instead of, because multitasking is not something that the brain is actually equipped to do. It's not. The brain cannot multitask. There is no way that you can actually be 100% present if you are multitasking. So awareness and observation are fully available in being present.
We're on autopilot. I call it autopilot.
That's what that autopilot is what happens when you're not present. And that's what the ADHD. Oh, I gotta go over here and do this. Phone ring. Oh, hey, and and then you say, what was I doing? And people say, I don't remember. It's not that you don't remember, it's that you weren't present in the first place.
Yeah.
You weren't there.
Yep.
So one of the things that and I've taken that on myself, looking to be present inside of, okay, I'm not going to eat and watch television.
Yeah.
I'm going to sit at the table with my food and be there with it. And now, when you do that, the cells in your body are like, oh, we're eating. Not, oh, what's that on TV? Oh, what's that on YouTube? You see, those are multitasking, but you're out of alignment with your body. So I just wanted to throw that in because people miss it on Geminis. You know what I'm saying? And then, they dissonant. No, they've been taught
That's
to
right.
against themselves. Right. When
And
actually,
can I was going to say, can I just add really quickly to that? And Atlanta, I'm totally with you with that. And what I learned was we were programmed that way at an early age in order to help the power that be. So whoever, I'm not going to get in trouble today, you shares, but to make more money. So we've been trained to do that, to make more money for those people, but that was never what we were how we should have been utilizing our brain.
Yes. Yes. And you know what? And I would end with this. I just had a conversation. I went to a retirement party where I used to work, and two of the managers, love them dearly. They both retiring at the same time. But as I was talking to someone, we were there, I told them, I said, had I known that art was more than just pictures and music, and if I known that there was administration behind the art, I would have been 100% in there. But we were taught there's no money in art. You got to know somebody, know somebody. And it was like, I don't really fit in there, but I don't know how I fit. Now I completely can be present to art is more than what we see. It is, there's a machine behind this world of Art Institute or whatever. And I never became present with it until I thought of it. I'm like, and as I'm saying this to someone, she said, I never really thought about it. I said, none of us have, because in our age group, we were programmed, go get money. There's no money in art. And that's
you were constantly told that too. No money.
And it's totally not true. There is money in art. Who runs this? Who runs it? Like there are billionaires in the music industry. That's art, right? There's billionaires in the museum. So that when I got present with that, I'm like, this is one of those things that unlock. Like my brain I've been unlocked. I'm unlocked this week now. So now I'm like assessing, where do I go
Ooh,
moving
that's a
forward.
t-shirt, Alanda.
What?
Unlocked.
Yeah,
Unlocked.
unlocked. I am unlocked. And so now
Unlocked. I like that. That's a t-shirt.
my time now is, how do I move forward in 2025 with all these projects I was working on? Now, yeah, I know where now to put my time and consistency in.
Wonderful. Excellent. Okay, Kiana, you're next. Me and you, Shay's gonna wait our turn.
Hey everybody.
Hey.
Oh my goodness, this week has been amazing. I watched time management this morning, wealth is time. And I was just going over the pillars, like just thinking like, man, the family, the health, the knowledge, the time. And I'm like, oh my God, if everybody just gets those things in alignment in their own lives, how much better the world will be overall, how much change will we see, how much, community and just beautification. But I'm with Tammy, that spiritual laziness, like putting that term to it, putting that term to it was like a light bulb, beep, aha. So that was huge for me. Of course, always when Tammy talking about health, I'm tuned in. Loads talking about knowledge. Family, I think, was one of the ones that I really enjoy a lot because I have family and me and my family are very close. And then sometimes you can forget like little things, right? Like being very grateful of the people that you are around and really looking at them as wealth and like, oh my God, they didn't clean up, right? Right, looking at, those type of things, which, yeah, right, that's everyday stuff. But just remembering like the wealth that they bring to your life. I literally was like getting ready and like trying to set up and everything. And I'm like, oh, dang it, I don't got no tea. And I was like, Jay, can you come make me a cup of tea real quick? And she's like, okay, which one do you want? And how do you want it? And so I had told her, and she said, here, taste it. And I was like, okay. So I tasted it. I said, okay. I said, it's good, but fill my cup up. And she was like, okay. She went and filled the cup up and brought it back. Fill my cup up. That just gave me a whole nother, it just took me
It's the
somewhere
little
spiritual.
things, Kiana. Remember how we used to say that? It's the little things.
It's the little things. And so I'm just like, oh my God, in this moment, I clearly know I am wealthy. And this week has been phenomenal. I would say, oh, the resources, that's what I got. Some of the stuff I knew, so it was like a remembrance, like, oh yeah, that's right. Like what Landy was saying, so I was like, oh right. And then Tammy was saying hers and Lotus and I don't want to name her, was it Tanisha? She was on this
Miss
morning.
Legault. I know, girl, because that was a course teacher. So I Miss Stewart, she Miss Legault. We can't even help
yeah. Yeah, I want to mispronounce her name. But the hers, so just like those resources, and I was like, oh, that's something good to type in, or oh, I haven't heard that one. Let me write that down. Because a few of them that you and Lotus was saying I hadn't heard yet. I mean, I haven't read yet. So I was like, oh, I got a whole book list in my phone. So I'm like, yeah, book list. I put them on there.
Right.
So the resources was great. And then just the camaraderie. I think you had mentioned, I'm not sure which one, but you was talking about all the women were beautiful and how we don't compete and things like that. And that was like every time I turned on the watch, I watched all of them live except for last night. But every time I watched, I was like, these women are beautiful. These women are beautiful. So then when you actually said that one night, I was like, yes, like it's just I don't know, it's just like gorgeous spirits, gorgeous women, ageless. You don't know how old nobody is. Are they 12? Are they 100? You don't know.
I'm getting close to 100.
Yeah. So just great energy. And it's good. It's all good.
Yeah, and thank you. That is just so true. And I think too, one of the things about that is we get along, but we don't always agree. We don't, you know what I'm saying? We do not always agree. We can go back and forth, but that's it. We done with it, and okay, what's next? So I don't want people to think that we placate each other. No, this what gotta be said, we said, and then we go on. Right. So because you guys are just as much in making sure I'm getting it right. Okay, you shares, come on. Yay, producer extraordinaire this week. Let's give her applause. Yes.
Greetings, greetings. Happy Friday. Happy solstice. Um, it's been an amazing week, and I want to just piggyback on some of the comments that have been made. As far as family is concerned, I took that one originally, and really looking at that, it brought, reminders to me. Me being in a space of not just dealing with the physical family, but your spiritual family,
Yes.
and ensuring that we make time to understand how they're guiding us, because especially during this particular time in the true magical time of the year, this is the time that we actually speak to our spiritual family. And another part of a family that we kind of miss is Mother Earth is our family. And so,
Mhm.
or we are being daughters of the earth. And I believe that's the reason why we have such an admiration and an honor for one another. Because, and not so much as that, because we're authentic, and so that's probably one of the biggest things, and I value you all so much because of that. And being authentic, you know, girl, your slip is showing, and so it is no love loss when we're telling, because we know, hey, I got your back, you got my back, and there's always love, and we know that we're developing each other. So hey, if I see something in you, we might not all get along, we might not all, because we're all going through our own thing, but we respecting ourselves enough to know that
Mhm.
my sister is not going to say anything. It's always in a high vibration, because in a sense, we've come together, for a reason to help each other, because we're not alone, especially in this particular cycle. In this, everything is a distraction, and going back to Alanda's point of being focused. It took me, every time we talk about focus, I always think about being a Girl Scout, right? When you had the magnifying glass, right? Who
Oh
did that
yeah.
experiment? So you put the magnifying glass and allow the sun to radiate through the glass, and you can actually start a fire. Well, the only reason why that fire is ignited because of focus, and so if you do not have that focus, you can't create that magic. I was watching one of my favorite movies that I haven't seen in a long time. I pulled out the Yogis of Tibet, and they were talking about how the monks did it for meditate for like 10 years. Like, I don't know if I'm ready for that. But just when they came out of those particular, the community supported them, why they were able to do the 10 years of meditation, and they came out, so overstanding everyone's role as a family member within, we have some that are different levels, and being able to support them in whatever they have to do to bring, you know, uh 360 for us is what allows us to elevate.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so
Mhm.
so
I
Go
love that.
I do too, because that when you say that and you look at the conversation that we have about how we get energy from each other here, right? But then we go into our different spaces. We go someplace else. We go, and then those people get that energy that we've given to each other,
mm-hmm.
you
Yeah.
know, and that's the
They
beauty of
get
it.
that energy, but they're not able to mutually reciprocate. And so
And we don't,
then,
and that's why it's okay because we can come here and get it. You see what
and
I'm
we
saying?
come
That's
back
what that
together.
tribe, that family,
Mhm.
that
I love it.
and that's what our home life needs to be as well. Our home life needs to be that every time somebody come into that space that live there, like they can feel that they're sourced, that's the energy that's there for them.
I'm
Yeah, I
laughing.
love that.
I recall several times people that have been invited to my home, they always fall asleep. And it's like, I never fall asleep in nobody's house. What's going on? It's like, because you at home. You know what I'm saying? If I'm inviting you in my home, you're going to feel at home. It's just, the energy that I've been blissed with, so when you understand the energies, not only do you understand the blessings, but you also have to understand how to protect it, because of the boundaries and the different distractions. We all came to play this game we call Earth. And so as we're in these meat suits, Dr. Tammy told us how we're supposed to take care of these meat suits in order to be able to get the magic. That's what it's all about. The distractions is for us to forget how magical we are.
That's
and
right.
Once we get more so into that, understanding that and overstanding that, we're able to radiate that with anyone that comes in our circle. Now, one of the next pillars that I was really fond with was knowledge. Knowledge is basically, it's a lifetime asset. But the biggest thing with knowledge is really understanding how to apply it so it yields the wealth that you need. Because you can have all this information in your head, but if you're not being able to use it to empower independence or driving decision making or creating opportunities, it makes it's what's the purpose of it? You can get on your soapbox, and what is that doing for you? You can pop your collar and be all excited, because you have that praise. But if you're not able to translate that knowledge into making decisions and making it a lifetime asset to evolve, into wisdom, because you can go to the school, have all these letters behind your name, but if you're not able to apply the knowledge, it's like it doesn't mean anything.
Well, look at all those people that we coach that, have all these degrees. And then as soon as a life crisis happens, they can't apply what they learned. They cannot apply that knowledge that they learned in school. Isn't that interesting?
Well, the main reason is because they wasn't taught that school in the
Absolutely.
CPS. They weren't taught in the formative years where the subconscious is programmed for those. So they go back to that. And so that's one of the main things that I've learned in the health is to utilize frequency healing, because it goes straight to the cells. And in that way, it's like a light switch. It's so difficult if you've been a natural healer to change the mindset of a person. You could tell them they be all gung-ho consciously, they on board, but then they go about a week later, they didn't fell right back into the same routine. So, we're creatures of habit if you haven't elevated yourself. You could be a creature of habit, but there's different levels. We have beast, we have man, we have human being, we have being, we have supreme being. Well, supreme being, then being, being supreme among beings. And then you have the divine being. And we have 22 chakras, but that's a whole nother conversation. But
I was gonna say, don't be breaking out. We got to
right. But the point is that we've been limited to just 7 chakras, and those 7 chakras, and in the CPS and the school systems only go into the first 3, as far as making you an animal, as far as just being able to assimilate into working in the system, as far and as opposed to being.
Well, you can hold some of that, you shares, because we actually are going to bring up the
children.
Right. And the vibration. Yeah.
Okay. Now, the last one that I just really loved was about time. Time influences health and well-being. And that goes back to Alanda's about consistency.
It's 8 o'clock.
Mm-hmm. And so with that consistency, you're able to see how you're able to develop your time as well, because you have time, but time, if you don't use it wisely, it determines your freedom. Like true time, true wealth is having the freedom to spend your time on what matters most to you, whether
Yeah.
it's pursuing passions, traveling, or spending time with loved ones. The control of your time is a harm is a cornerstone of a wealthy life. And then time amplifies happiness. Wealth may provide comfort, but time provides meaning. Spending time on relationships and hobbies and meaningful causes leads to tasteful and lasting fulfillment, which is the ultimate measure of a rich life.
Absolutely. You know, and then I don't know if you heard it, Miss Legault said her son, her 12-year-old son was like,
Mhm.
oh yeah, I can talk about wealth because I see a lot of people that have a lot of money and they're not wealthy. He said, but I also see poor people without money and they have a lot of wealth
Because
inside.
they see the smile, he see the inner glow within that particular person. And so while we on this planet, it's about finding the joy, exercising that joy and that happiness. Like you said, most of us are vibrating on 200
And below.
and below. So, but when you get up to bliss, it's like, yo, I'm doing a cartwheel every day. I'm riding my bike every day. I'm in love with just living, because you have that inner glow. Dr. Tammy, you're on mute, babe. I see your lips moving. Oh.
Was she
I'm
talking?
I'm just co-signing. I'm just co-signing, like,
Talking to
amen.
yourself?
Talk to myself.
Right. So, so I wanted to say the three takeaways that I had this week. The three takeaways that I had, one was the ease and grace of just talking to each one of you. You know, it was just like a coffee clutch or something. You know, even though this was a topic that was surely one that we've been working on, it still came across as something that was easy to do. And, we can go deeper into it, but for what we did, it was easy, right? In the grace. The other thing that I got out of this was the area that I'm going to go to work inside of family. As much as I communicate, I probably am not a good communicator for family because as you know, and this, I can hear my own excuse, right? I'm an introvert. After I coach people all day, I don't want to talk to nobody. I say that all the I say that all the time. And I'm thinking, okay, so I need to compensate for that instead of making an excuse for it. You see what I'm
You
saying?
can't burn yourself out.
I don't need to burn myself out, but I can schedule
Yeah.
inside of that time.
Time.
Reaching out to, but when my children call, I answer, but I'm not one to pick up the phone and call them. You know what I'm saying? Or my nieces and nephews, so that's family, like really working on that. And
Hashtag
then,
old school.
huh?
That's
The
that
what?
old school. I remember my dad, we used to go back and forth. I ain't gonna call you, you call me, I ain't call you, so yeah, we were able to eliminate that. But that goes back to, sort of like if you're in your zone, you kind of forget about everyone
Oh, it is so easy. It is so, and then I'm over here in Michigan, like, I'm cocooned. I'm so into it, like I'm good. So and then I think the third thing that I got out of it is and you all hear this saying all the time, but when we were talking about knowledge, it's like the more you know, the more you don't know. You're like, oh wow.
rabbit hole. It can be a rabbit hole. You have to be very careful because that's another distraction.
It can be another distraction, but it goes back into though, because I've been studying a lot of these topics for years, and then it's still something that goes, oh, boop, and it's like, wow, So I just love that, and I know that that's what most of us, are life learners. We're always, looking to learn more. But that just really hit me when we were doing the knowledge one. And thank you, Yeshayas, and you know why I'm thanking you. But that made a big difference for pulling that out. So now I want you all to kind of think about, as we were having this conversation every night, there was something that showed up in every conversation, and even though it wasn't spoken, it was there. And that is the whole time, what was going through everything is our spiritual essence.
Mm.
So it could have been a fifth pillar of wealth. Because every night it came up.
Energy.
Yeah, it is. But it's always like that. It's there. You know what I'm saying? It's there in the unspoken. So I want to speak to that a little bit. I want to share my screen, and this is some of the work that we've done together in Master Force. But I want to speak to. Can you all see this?
We can.
Yes.
Yeah. So I want us to kind of go through this and share how we work with this information, right? And especially when we started with Alanda and Kiana, and we were talking about how what was it? People actually did stuff to us, right? To eliminate our wealth. Remember we talked about that?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So if they did that to us, and we tend to think that something's wrong, where do we, did that come up? Where are we vibrating? If you look at this chart and somebody did, where are we vibrating? Do you see this? So,
yeah.
So where do you think we're vibrating? Are we at shame, which is 20, guilt, apathy?
At least 100.
I was gonna say, I'm thinking fear, like between fear and courage.
Are you talking about as the collective? I'm sorry.
Yeah, as a collective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
fear.
I think before we get to fear, though, I think, before we get to fear, I think there is some apathy and grief.
Well, no, we got to go to shame. We got to go to shame.
Come on.
Shame. The majority of people are in the crazy house because of shame. A serious chemical imbalance.
Absolutely.
Because the main thing is, I want to be liked. I care what this person thinks. If you give 0 Fs about what someone thinks, you're not shameful or embarrassed about anything. I was blessed to grow up in a neighborhood where everybody had something smart to say. You wasn't about to be ashamed about nothing. And you didn't realize the beauty in that, growing up in sarcasm, being hit over the head with your flaws, on a consistent basis, where you're not shameful anymore. You can say anything. I'm loving me. But most of the people, they want to put on a face, one of the songs I love, Mask Off. The mask is off. Most people have a mask on because they're shameful. And that goes back to the insecurities that they have, whatever childhood.
But wait a minute. I want to keep this inside of that first conversation that we had, where we were talking about, the zero, we were at point
vibrated.
0. Right. Mm-hmm. And so that was because we talked about it. We had wealth at one point, and then something happened, right? Mm-hmm. So you're saying that after that happened, we had shame about that. I'm not talking about where we are now. I'm talking about then, because we had to come from someplace. Yeah,
exactly. Well, the thing that came from giving away our power. Yep. So you become shameful if you're not able to live up to someone else's expectations.
Okay.
Yeah, and to add to that, Yeshayas, I think about the organizations and things that exist that support shame. And I love how Alanda and Kiana spoke in regards to the church, and there's some other organizations, but For the most part, I believe, with especially for some of us whose grandparents and parents are from down south, if something happens where you lose money or you know, your relationships or whatever surrounding the conversation that you all were talking about on Sunday, it has something to do with maybe perhaps something you didn't do. It's your fault, you
Mm.
know, and then the church supports it. Oh, well, you know, there was something you did in your life. You need to repent. And so then, you know, after that's pretty much supported, you know, throughout the household and in your churches, then now that's in the bloodline. And then we just keep going on with it.
Perpetuating it. But
Absolutely.
can you see also that things like affirmative action, DEI are in
Mhm.
the shame category? Can you all see that?
Oh, indeed. You know, just
Yes,
remember
I can.
those fingers. You
Yeah,
know, down south, when you this finger right here,
Shame on you. Shame on you.
that finger is very powerful. You don't even know
Yeah.
power when you radiate different energies just from your fingers alone. But
Oh, yeah. And just integration. I think integration,
Integration, segregation, all of that is
all
shame.
of that.
Can you
Yes.
and so even the conversation, oh, they took that from us. That puts us right back down here. That puts us right. And so to think that we're going to accomplish anything inside of this energy, it's impossible.
well,
impossible.
and it is very, and I want to add to that because
Yes.
I live in Iowa, and you know, you used to live here, but
Mm.
being in it as an adult, I see that the stories that they perpetuate, the people that they put on a platform to perpetuate what I call
Mhm.
it's likened to like porn, right? Shame porn. You know, I would say this
Oh,
because people are addicted to these stories and white saviors love to hear us suffering. So someone like me that will come and say, I will not speak to where I come from and how I had to start from the bottom down here. They don't want to hear my story because it keeps them in a place of they feel better about themselves. They hear, and then you have people that constantly tell that story. It keeps an umbrella over them to no longer go. So you keep that shame story going. These stories are something that they are attached to, and they don't even realize that this is what they're doing. So it challenges them. That goes back into that guilt. Like our shame is their guilt. Like that's pretty much what it is. Our shame is their guilt. But you as we're looking at this pyramid, you know, looking at this, where is guilt? Is right over shame.
it's
So
right over shame. It's
it's right
right.
over shame. So if they
Mhm.
can suppress, they can keep that down, and they can keep their guilt down. That then they can help. They can keep that away from anybody else hearing it because they want to constantly feed you into this story. Like, yeah, you used to be like this. All right, here's some money. Like, here's a platform so more people can hear
I'm
about
gonna
your.
help you. I'm gonna
I'm gonna
help.
help you. I'm gonna give you some money.
The first
Yeah,
thing, no,
yeah.
thank you.
Yes,
Yeah.
and that's exactly and that's what I see here because there are so many things that I have started and wanted to do for the Black and BIPOC folks, and mostly Black. That what happens is somebody with more money, if I had millions of dollars, they would be listening to me. They will allow me to do all these
Yeah.
things. And what happens is someone that comes with grants and give these people that I've been trying to get them like, hey, we can start here, create a grassroots, create something that we can call our own and bring in more people to build our community. What happens when you have a city that brings in all this money and like, hey, we're going to give you a grant for doing this, or we're going to do this for this, and they're not listening to me anymore. They don't want to, because as far as they're concerned, I'm not doing anything because
Well,
it's not,
it's just like they were talking about in the music industry, you know, how they'll sign on this great artist and put their music on the shelf.
yeah. To keep them bound. It's to keep them from going and see when you come in here with a knowing, like I said, if I came here with millions of dollars, there's a guy here that's a Black CEO, came here 3 years, did more than he did a lot for this casino out here. Going back to Vegas and he got a promotion. He's great. He Black guy came here.
Now,
You know
I
what I
want
mean?
hold on to that. Hold on to
Okay.
that because look, look in this area where you have shame, guilt, apathy, fear, victim and abuser consciousness.
Yes.
So a person who's doing really well building casinos is what are they? Do you know what that's doing to the population?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yes.
they're not interested in your grassroots thing,
No.
because
No.
that is not what they're
Outside
about.
the matrix.
Yeah, that's them in that they right, and they are in that they're not listening or interested in the ones I was more so talking like, hey, because there people down in the guilt and shame don't like people, and I won't say intimidated, but they say things like, oh, he think he better than us.
Well, these people,
You know what I mean? So that goes back to that shame.
any victim conversation is gonna
Yeah.
show up.
So
And-
none of those people wanted to get, they can't even get past the shame or guilt to even hear self-empowerment. And that's where, like, because of this, what we're doing, my self-empowerment has been like I'm in the
We have
self-empowerment.
to do it ourselves.
You have
But see, I wanted you to see, because we were trying to get to fear, but even fear
biggest.
is a higher frequency than shame. Until people can get to that, shame will keep, some people stay in shame their entire life.
Mm,
And
Absolutely.
that shame can come from, I was molested.
yeah.
I could have easily been stuck in my mother being mentally ill. I could have easily stayed stuck there. Okay. In what came with that,
Right.
what do you call that? What you were saying, you shares how people talk about you. I went the other side. You can't say nothing to me. I already know my mama crazy,
Right.
but you have to move beyond that. But you can't tell people to move beyond that. You have to demonstrate it.
Yes.
And some
It
people are
cannot be a lecture.
and have to realize too, when you're as a healer and you're dealing with people, you have to realize if they're even capable to raise
Of
their
listening. That's right.
Yes.
Sometimes you just, and I think you spoke to this, you share us about family. Sometimes it's just holding the space for them.
Yep.
Yeah.
So they
Yep.
don't have to change. I can love you in all of your
where
shame,
you are.
guilt,
Where you
grief.
are.
I can love you. We can sit. None of that have to come up. None of that triggers me anymore. You can look at your own triggers on this, and make sure that you're working through that. So that now you don't get to courage until 200.
Mm.
And courage is the only place where you begin to be rewarded. You're not rewarded in all this other pride, all this anger. You don't get the universe starts, what do you call, pinging with you
Mm-hmm.
when you have the courage to take a stand. What were you going to
Yes.
say?
Yes. So I was going to say, recognizing that, as children, we're protecting ourselves, and we talk about this as coaches all the time. So we've created ways in order to be able to, I guess, get through those life situations. So in situations where, like what you shares was saying, or even like what you're saying, Moo, like I could have stayed there at shame, but I chose to rise up. We have 40, 50-year-olds that are still under 200.
Yep.
We have to be able to, because this was how they coped as a child, this is how they're continuing to cope as adults. We have to then make them aware of that and then support them to be able to get to the level, or even be aware that they're still operating at such a low vibration.
Yes.
So that
that's what that is
courage.
too. I'm with you on that. It's like, really imagine us being exposed to this.
Mhm.
This is, and then remember when we got exposed to this, I think that was inside of that 17-second rule too.
Absolutely,
Right?
sure was.
So it's like, okay, you can get angry, but you don't want to stay there.
Exactly.
Okay.
Absolutely.
You can be prideful, but you don't want to stay there.
Which is why most people are vibrating under the level of 200, at that level that they haven't even exceeded courage.
Yeah.
No power.
You don't have to have the capacity. We have to realize, and that was one of the things is you have to realize everybody thinks that everybody thinks like them. And so many times, those that are stuck in shame, like Moo spoke about, that we have to demonstrate those things. And
Yeah.
once people can see that there's just imagine a mouse inside of a maze, right? But the one looking above the maze,
Can
that's
see everything.
can
Mhm.
see everything. And that's the same with your being. If you're always pointing fingers, you don't realize you have three pointing back at you. So,
Mhm.
like, once you come to that realization to deal with self, but we've been trained to deal with everybody else because that's
And blame everybody else.
and
Absolutely.
blame everybody else. And so when you deal with yourself, you're able to evolve your vibrations. Because I've been in shame, I've been in all those things and not even realizing the detriment. But
Yeah.
as healers, and especially the shells that we've decided to come through, as melanated
Yeah,
sisters.
we literally signed up for the work.
Huh.
If we can remember now if we can remember now, here's a question for you, because one of the things that we deal with, and we've all dealt with this, where's jealousy in here? It's not spoken to, but where is it?
Hmm.
Where's jealousy in here?
Probably
I would say it's in between shame. It's between shame and fear,
because you don't
or
feel,
shame and desire.
yeah, shame and desire.
I would say between shame and desire.
Yeah,
What else? What else would you all say? Anybody else? Where's jealousy?
down there next under fear, like you're because you don't realize that you can't, no one can be you. Like I always say that I'm in competition with no one but myself.
Yeah.
So to have jealousy, it's like that's still, you're looking at someone else, like how can you deal with their life path? You're still dealing outside yourself to even think about being jealous of anyone else.
So now the gap that we have, because our society puts up all of these entertainers and all of these royalties, you want that lifestyle. You see that?
And then that puts in the jealousy, make you
And that puts
like
us back in that low frequency.
Yeah, I was going to say, I would put it honestly around shame, because if
I
I
don't have
am,
that.
it is around
yeah,
shame. Yeah, I would agree with
yeah,
that.
I don't have
yeah,
that.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
I don't have
yeah,
that. Or
I don't
I
know.
wish I had that.
I
I
wish
mean,
I
in
had.
Well,
the disempowerment with that, right? Oh, they have that and I don't.
Yeah,
and
covenant.
maybe I didn't even desire or think to desire it until
yeah.
you came
Until you
around
saw
with
it.
it. Till
Until
you
you
saw
saw
it.
it.
That's what I was gonna say. That's why I say it's in between that, because I can see different levels of, you feel like you have that your ego has this sense of pride that you can get what they get, and then finally something pops up that mirrors back to you into a shame. You feel guilty about this thing as
Oh,
to,
yeah, you got a whole cycle going
you know
on.
what I'm saying? So this is like,
Yeah.
that's why I say it get past shame, because you forget about shame, and then you get mad that you don't have the courage because your
Access.
pride.
Like they got that and I did.
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
so here's another one. Where's racism on here?
Oh, that's shame and guilt.
That's shame
That's
and
shame and
guilt.
guilt.
That racism
Well, it's
goes
kind of
along
the
with,
same.
it goes
I want to
along with
say,
jealousy.
I would say it's on the same the
Yeah.
same thing in between shame and courage. I would say shame and pride, because people have been thinking that they have been a certain way because of how someone else put a fear to them, and the fear is fear-based. Racism is fear-based because they
Yeah.
feel that because a long time ago you freed these people, now they're gonna come and take our stuff, and now we
Good
got to share the
president.
stuff. We got to share it. And then when they see that they had these things, like what Kiana was saying the other night about Wilmington, only these towns, these people were minding their Black business, and people came in and took their stuff because here they are shame because they did nothing with after the slavery and slaves are free, they have no access to this stuff that they thought they was going to get because slaves are removed. Now they grieved, you know what I mean? They fear that they won't be able to get anything else. You know, all of this is a lack mentality, and that pride came into them. Like, instead of asking, like, hey, I see what you're doing, I want to build up my town too. They want to go in, and they went in and took all that. So that racism is just like the jealousy. All of that is like right there. They couldn't get
But
past that.
so
Well-
that's racism, but what about the racist? Because remember, we pointed out that racist is not just the ism side of it. Like,
Yeah.
we can't be racist. And I know that we were taught that Black people can't be racist, but if we keep doing that, where is that frequency?
Right. I think
Where is
Shame.
the racist?
I'll say it's still in the middle, in the same place as jealousy. Because some people don't like their skin complexion, right? Because here we
No,
are.
but hold on.
You know what I
Listen
mean?
to what I'm saying. I do know what you mean, but the racist, right? No matter what color,
It's gonna be low vibrating.
it's going to be low vibrated.
Yeah.
But
But
wait, well,
where is
let me-
that vibration coming from? Where is it here? Am I a racist because I'm ashamed of myself? Am I a racist because I feel guilty? Am I a racist because I'm apathetic? You see what I'm saying?
well, you know what, too, Moo? You can also be a racist because you have a pride for your culture. And so
Well, that's where I am. I'm definitely very proud of it.
and so that's a change that raises the vibration. So
Mhm.
all of our generations, regardless of your nationality, you've been exposed to, you have Willie Lynch residue. You know, everybody have it at different levels. So those things, because the Black Panthers gave us a pride to be melanated, and as we continue to evolve and, marrying the metaphysics with it, now we like, oh, yo, we gods, so now we have a level of pride. However, we still at a low level with that 175. So we as gods still have to be the mirrors of raising the vibration, because even though it's like you popping your collar and excited about who you are, why should that have to, make someone else feel bad? It's like, why would you have a pride
Right.
if I'm
That's what I was gonna say.
but that goes back to having a quorum of what's considered normal. And so once people break out of, there's no such thing as normal, we all have come here for a particular purpose. And so when you're not in your purpose, you're going to be at all that low vibration.
Yeah.
No
So
matter in your race.
who are you? Yeah, go ahead, Kiana.
The racist thing, I think is very low vibrational on anybody's, whether you Black, white, whatever, it doesn't matter. I think it's very low vibrational because we understand and know that race is made up.
It's
right?
made because it's one race. It's the human
Right.
race. It's just the
So when
human
we
race.
notice,
And the human race has
yeah,
rainbow of colors.
Mm-hmm.
exactly.
Look at this whole rainbow right here. We got a whole rainbow of
Exactly.
melanated sisters.
Brown.
Color, hair,
It
rainbow.
was a system.
Yeah.
It's a system, a categorized system that is made up to categorize people, to cause division. And if we notice, then when Black people are racist, it's not they're racist because they're proud of their culture. It's because they are jealous of the oppressor. It's just what it is. If you are being denied access because of your race and it's made up, then you then find fault with the oppressor. This is still a game that's being played. So if we notice that this is what it is, this is why we have to figure out our triggers. A lot of times we are internally DNA triggered by things that people who are a part of the oppression, the oppressed power people. So that's why they say like Black people can't technically be racist because we don't have power. We're not in a position of power, right? The oppressors are
But
the
that's
colonizers,
not true.
right?
But I got you. Yeah.
And
No,
then, but
no,
then there's
right.
another side of that though, too, though, Key, in that if someone who wants to be the oppressor's race, then there's shame about
It's
being
shame and guilt. Exactly.
about
Exactly. So
being
it keeps so
Yeah.
them
So you,
creating
you
this and
yeah.
feeding this what keeps us in a perpetual low vibration of shame, of guilt, of fear,
Mhm.
of all of the low vibrations. It's gonna keep us in that. So when we are in a space where we're feeding into the race theory and doing those things is going to keep us low. And the same with them is this not even a color thing. It doesn't matter. If you are
No,
white and you're
that's
saying
right.
you don't like black people, you're going to still be down here. If you're black and you say you don't like
That's
white,
right. I
like
don't care how much
this
money you have, you still gonna be down there.
yeah, you still gonna be down there. It's all made up. It's all made
It's
up. And if you know
energy.
that it's all
It's
made up, then we have to now figure out how to do something different.
it's
Because
a
Now
doing the
this
same
is the
thing
systematic
last
over and over.
right.
it's a systematic loop. And I would
Yeah.
say this without going deep. It's a spiritual, like when they hear about in church, they say wrestle not against flesh and blood and principalities. It is a loop that we have constantly been put in because we started out in this world as I, in my opinion, and what I've read, we all connected with each other in the spirit. We didn't have to vocalize. And the
Mm.
words had to come out because whatever this other entity, whatever we want to call it, needed to hear what we're doing so they can figure out how to put us back into a loop.
Oh,
We need to, this is all putting us back into a loop. So if they can keep us in a lower vibration, they can put us back into a loop,
that's why
whatever.
words are spells.
And
Absolutely.
worlds of sparrows. Like they, because all of these words didn't exist until the 15th, the
Yeah.
14th century,
And
whatever.
then they keep changing it.
And they keep
You know
changing
what?
it. So this is that's why kids don't. I'm starting to realize that's why kids are not reading well, or like because
Oh
right
my
now
goodness.
we're
And
It's
in
by
this.
design.
We're
Absolutely.
here. We need to
Yeah.
know how this is because we should be able. I talked to my daughter today and I helped her out for doing something without even even talking to her about what she need. I reached
Yes.
out and say, "Hey, I'm going to send you something, blah, blah, blah." She was like, "You know what? Yes, I need it. I can do this." And she's like, "You know what? Last night I heard that you have not because you want, you have not because you ask not, right?" And I said, "That's funny because when I was asking you, something said, don't just send her that, pay the whole thing."
Yeah.
And so that was a thing on a level of we hadn't talked to each other.
And
We
talk.
had,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And so this is where this work is. Like we got to unplug to the
We
point.
got it so that we can feel it.
We got to get out
Get
this
the
loop.
download because we're connected to our children no matter where we are.
Yes. So
Mhm.
how,
Or they are.
imagine if we can do this with each other because this is a loop that they're forcing us back into because
No,
they
we're not
know.
gonna we're
No,
not
no,
gonna
no,
keep
no, not us. But
that's in this victim. They're
yes,
remember what we
Yep.
said tonight. They're into self-preservation. They
yes,
really ain't even thinking about us.
yes.
Okay, they trying to get that
Wow.
7% you stands. That 7% is
Yeah.
in danger of going down to 5%.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
Mhm.
And
That's 6,000 kids to be, you know,
it's
so.
effort, and if they can get, and if we can get, if we stay in that, this is relevant, like you said, self-preservation. That's what they're thinking about. We got to get out of those. What you
We got to
said.
get out of survival.
We
'Cause
got to get out of that.
now here's the last one, and then we go to the next thing. Where is privilege on here?
That's pride. Privilege.
That's pride. Because we all have privilege. We all
We
have
all
a privilege.
have privilege.
We all have it. We just have to know
Let me
what it
say,
is.
what's crazy about that particular statement? Like, I grew up, Southside Chicago, middle class, lower middle class, but I was always like princess like, like, and Mook says it's what do you call it? Only child syndrome. You said
Yes, the only child syndrome, right? Mm-hmm.
but the only child syndrome, provided that energy of being, we Geminis, we complicated, only to other people. We know what we got going on in our minds, but that the privilege, like I feel like even sometimes when I enjoy cleaning sometimes, but then sometimes it's like I'm not supposed to be doing this. Where's my maid? Where is she? you know. So there was I
I
had a
know
certain
you be talking, you
privilege.
be calling me talking about why do I have to go and do this? Where's my man? Where's where my brother King? I'm like, girl, don't do the whatever.
I'm not supposed to be doing this, you know.
And can I just point out too that privilege, look, according to Dr. Hawkins, privilege is good compared to if you're coming from a place of apathy.
Mm.
Yes,
If you're coming
yes,
from a place of shame, then
yes.
that's good. And still not at the level of 200 where there's power, but based on where you started from and where you're going, that
Yeah.
can be a good thing.
So to finish this out, when we talk about raising our vibration, just know that courage is the first. If you can look and see in your life that something is going on, because I can remember being in a abusive relationship. Alanda experienced that with me. Well, not with me, but But anyway, she was living with me in Iowa at the time. But when you're actually inside of something like that, it seems like you want somebody to come and save you, right? And I'm listening to this tape that said, you are where you are because that's exactly where you want to be. I turned that shit off so fast. Oh, what?
Like you had a power, don't get it twisted. You still got the power, regardless of the BS you got going on.
But you right. And that's what it was, you shares, because I turned that off and I didn't listen to it for 3 days. And three, y'all know, is my operative number. That third day, my spirit said, go back and turn it on. I turned it on, and you know what I realized? I was scared to make a move.
Take control.
I was scared to make a move. I was scared to take a move. You see, because in my world, I felt limited. I don't have a father to call. I don't have a mother to call. I don't have, you see what I'm saying? We're made to think that if
Yep.
you don't have these different layers, right, then you're at a disadvantage. You see that? You're at it, but there's no such thing if you align yourself with your what? Spiritual
Spiritual.
essence.
Yeah, that's programming. That is
Yes,
That's
programming.
programming.
That's our
Yeah.
programming. We have
Yes.
so everybody that doesn't have money and didn't have this, they've been programmed to think, oh, you'll always be like that. But that's not true. That's not, you are where you are because that's exactly where you want to be until when? Until you decide that you don't want to be there, and then you're going to do something about it.
you learn the lesson and set your boundaries
Oh, girl.
Yeah.
and
That's
know
it.
your worth.
No, and then I started
Yes.
doing my spiritual practices because I had
Yes.
already read the book. Actually, I took some grocery money off the top and went to the bookstore and bought the book again, The Power of Your Subconscious Mind.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
remembered that I had the ability to change any circumstance that I wanted to. And this is the point that we want people to get. You can
Yes.
change anything.
Yes, you can.
Absolutely. And understanding that the purpose of the programming is to be able to control you.
Keep
That
you
is
in
the
the bottom
whole,
part.
And
like
you know,
Atlanta said, that infinity
yes.
loop, so
Yep.
that you
Mhm.
can, because let's just keep it real, you can help to make whoever
Rich.
Yes.
it's all about greed. It's
Oh,
all
God.
about money.
Their
It's all
greed.
about greed.
Yes. And so I
Their
work to bring
greed.
the balance because I don't have to want that for my life. You understand that? I don't
Yeah.
have to want that to have a good life. My life is so wealthy. You see?
And
Absolutely.
and I
You know
have to
what?
oh, sorry. But I want to say this about when I fell last week. I wasn't just because I was hurt. It was more of, I don't like this. Like, I don't like, I think I was more like in my pride of being able to get up. I said this, but the teaching of the courage of healing and
Yes.
remembering what we did, healing. I was like hobbling around like, I don't, this is not going to be this is not going to be it. I am not going to do this. This is not what I want to be, because I'm listening to people, other older people out here my age. They were surprised I told them I was 55. And so they were like, well, you at that age, you're going to fall a lot. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. And, but I
Up your
went back.
supplements, up your collagen. It's
I
the
did.
tendons and stuff that's weak. Our muscles. Get you some creatine. Put creatine.
Yes, I got all of it.
Okay.
I got all of it. Lysine, I got all these supplements I've been taking already. I realized that my recovery is much faster. And just knowing that and just being in, like you saying, the courage to, because I told somebody that's in my house that would remain nameless.
Don't you say his name.
Fail. And I say, hey, this is what I've been doing, because this is what you could, you should, I suggest that this is what we can do. And whatever, but when you are used to going to a doctor, going to get this, giving them that, it takes courage to try something totally different.
But do you know, Amanda, I just looked at some research, and you all know that we have that group called Coaching for Optimal Health right now. I posted it, that Tylenol stops your bone from healing. And so what happens as soon as people fall? They give you Tylenol.
Or ibuprofen.
Ibuprofen. It stops you from all of that. It stops your bone. It literally demineralizes your bone.
Wow.
I want to make one point before we get too far, before we go further up the vibration scale.
But we're not. We actually, go ahead.
As far as what we're talking about, control and focus, right? So one of the things now, you remember back in the day, we have music, right? The songs would be like 8 minutes at least, dancing.
Papa was a rolling stone.
Over. I'm skating, you skating all night on one song and get a good little workout. Now the songs like 3 minutes, 4 minutes. And then the rhythm of it, so they know about the vibrations.
Yeah.
And put out certain vibrations. Now with technology being amped up, it's more difficult. It's more difficult if you have electronics, because it makes it more difficult for you to raise your vibration, because of course the JBs, that vibration, those vibrations in those musics, they
change the frequency. Yeah.
It changed your frequencies. The music in the 70s, the music in the 80s, they made a deliberate change to
in the 90s. Absolutely.
Vibrations in there. And now with the towers, and with the phones, they can easily change your vibration. So if you are focused on the physical and in those, you have to ground yourself to even have the ability to raise your vibration. So many people want to use their vibrations in a different way. I could think about it, but it's difficult because I have ADHD. I can't even focus.
That's down here. That's all programmed too, because
with drill music. It's three drill music. Yep.
I was going to say, and so remember when I was talking on Tuesday about, I actually said his name wrong, so I need to correct it. Dr. Delbert Blair. He was talking about how the left brain, how the reason that we have the movies and the music and all of that is because they are keeping that left, that brain occupied. That's right. But there are frequencies we do not hear that they are constantly putting in the right
subliminal.
Subliminal. So when we are, which is why I don't do television, and I'm just very selective in what I allow, because I don't know about those other frequencies that's going in that they're really trying to install.
And this is why people, it's dangerous for us to train our children to use the television to go to sleep by. Please, if you're doing that, I'd rather you put on binaural beats. There's many of binaural beats but turn off the screen. Do not because everything that they're listening to is programming their brain. And cartoons are violent. Cartoons are not good stuff.
Families that are cognizant of that are middle class, upper class, the ones that
They don't let
they no, what I'm saying, they don't. I'm saying, what I'm saying is, well, I know because they don't have TVs in their kids' room.
Nope.
They don't look. You see what I'm saying? So it's like you said, in that level, they constantly we got to be entertained because we don't know anything else to do but that, but stay
Or watch
entertained.
somebody else, see what
Right, because
somebody
if you turn something off, then what? You gotta hear.
you got to deal with yourself.
You gotta deal with yourself.
Okay,
Yeah,
guys.
I didn't allow my kids to have TVs in their
Nope.
room. We did have a TV, but it was a center point, and we watched something, whatever, but not in the bedrooms. I didn't have a TV in my bedroom until 2 years ago, but I don't cut it on. I actually put that in for somebody else, but it comes on once a week for a movie night. And that's it. And it's back off.
And and that's me. I don't have a TV in my bedroom because what do we say in feng shui? Y'all remember what we say in feng shui? That it's only the only thing you need, the only thing a bedroom is
Sleeping.
for is what?
The two things we need for is sleeping and the bomb chicken
Not when you having hot flashes. That
Oh my
The
God.
hot flashes, though, if
relaxing.
you having hot flashes, you got to get you some Don Quay, some wormwood, or some bee pollen. That's just your hormones unbalanced. It ain't nothing. They taught us that.
Or some ashwagandha, some black
ashwagandha. Come
Some
on.
black coal.
I
I got all of it.
actually have not had.
mix.
Yeah, I actually haven't had any hot flashes it's like 3 weeks now. So I've been taking the stuff I've been taking. So I'm actually very good. I still don't want them touching me, but it's still like
Girl, what are you?
TMI.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all for saying that for me, because I'm just, what the heck? We ain't doing all that with
my knees.
Mm-hmm. It's the wonderful thing about, us women going into that particular stage.
Yes.
When we have our cycles, when we started our cycles, right? Every month we're actually supposed to cleanse out whatever garbage, mentally, physically, spiritually, right? So every month you clearing out that garbage. When it's time for you to take, and during those times, you're the God. You're at your most creative point.
Yes. Energy points. Yes.
Energy points, right? So of course, we're not going to get into too much in that, but that's why they made it something negative, right? And so many women have, honed into what that means. However, when you get to the pause state, every woman is different as far as how long it takes her to, complete that cycle. Because why? She has to cleanse out everything she might not have cleansed out all that time. So when she finished cleansing out, then she's the crone and she's always in her godlike state. So many times, embrace, what's going on, because you're cleansing not only for yourself, but for your generations and for the lineage. So
I was going to say, you shares, because when I found out that all cultures, including African women, do not have the long cycles that we have and don't have the complications, and diet as well as other things have something to do with it. But when I heard that, I was shocked. Because we are not supposed to.
We were programmed in guilt about it.
What was the name of that book you shared? What was the name of the book? Because we talked about it. The Tao.
Oh, the crone, and then cultivating female sexual energy.
Yes.
But the crone is the book that gives you that information, and all women are healers. That's another.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I was just talking Queen of Four.
Yeah. Any of those, because it's important for us to be inside of that conversation because that's part of our femininity.
Yes.
And that's what was stripped away. We allowed ourselves to be caught up in that, but now we're learning.
Yes.
And we have to be present to it. and
Yes.
allow ourselves to teach young women the importance, because I still hear people, oh, I hate them on. No, this is a beautiful thing.
Beautiful thing. You supposed
Yes.
to be right. You supposed to be creating. You supposed
Yes.
to be. You can fly
You,
during that.
oh my
We
goodness,
used
so
to have
many.
we had those books that taught us how beautiful it was. Now, when I was growing up, we had it was talking
Yes.
about how
You
beautiful
are
it was and
special.
how to appreciate it. And then they turned it into something ugly. But what I do want to say, to touch on that point, Moot, I heard a young lady, she's got to be like maybe in her 30s, saying that we're not going to talk about how in our community women were raised to be men and the men were raised to be soft or to be more protected than the women. And back to what you were saying, you shares about how we are the like tap into this God like and tap into our goddess, our energy. That's one of those things I was listening this week. Like we have a lot of the programming have put us into this space of we are we are protectors, and it's not, to me, it's not gender specific, but their power shift that we were raised to be the ones that go and be in front of the man, right? Like you know, and that's a lot of younger women that I'm hearing the consensus is they can't find men that are protectors because now they become the protectors and they don't feel safe. That, you know what I mean? That was one of the things what you would say. I just wanted to touch on that.
Part
That
of
might be a whole nother thing, right?
yeah, that's
Yeah,
the part of the Willie Lynch residue.
yeah.
And also us as women, when they have sons, they don't, they look at them as, a boyfriend almost, and not actually, because if a woman has childhood issues and haven't dealt with her daddy and mother issues, those things transport over to not being able to actually see what does a son need to raise, but using the son as a blanket, the Linus, the son becomes a blanket, and now the son is grown, and it's like, well, I haven't been taught how to care because or protect the woman because she's been taking care of me all this time.
And I think part of that, because I watched, my family, a lot of the boys, the young men were killed. They died young. And so you have this
Yeah, Vietnam, right.
covet. Yeah, you want to covet, you want to protect, you don't want, so it's almost like you want to shield them from living. And so you don't put them out there in dangerous situations. You
Right.
know what I'm saying?
Right. We got pushed into dangerous situations. Like
Right.
you go to the door and see who there. That's what
You go
like,
see.
I used to square. I mean, I had when I was in relationships, I used to be the one squaring up with other dudes for the dude I was with, right? And so it's like you
Yeah.
never pay attention because it's like, why aren't you fighting? So that's another conversation that I think there's
Yeah.
listening this week. That's another conversation about the woman is. Well, I know we had this conversation before in our Your Soul
Yeah,
Connection.
we did feminine.
We already
talked
did
about
this.
the men and all that. We might have to talk about it in a different way, because this is a whole nother generation.
Yes.
Yes. Of
Yes.
Now I wanna share this curriculum for children, and we don't have to talk about the whole thing, but the purpose of this is to give people an idea. You shares like, well, we gotta create something to teach families how to. I'm like, look at you and Aretha, always telling me, giving me something to do. But that's what the B is. When I read the B, it said the B works very hard for her family and friends. I said,
And you do, boo.
no,
You do.
even stop it. Right. So, and we're gonna put these in the what did I say? In the comment section on the Ignite Your Soul Connection page on Facebook. But look at here, we're just talking about when your child is 4 years old, you need to start having them understand their birth chart. right? What were you born for? So you have to go and look at the Love Cards by Robert Camp. You can Robert Camp hear it, and then the Karma card. Then you go to Cafe Astrology and you look up the Sun, Moon, and Ascending. If you actually take time to raise your children inside of their own power source, their own blueprint, it's almost like you can be hands off, you know, because you can see their strength. You can nurture their weaknesses, you know, and then you get to focus more on yourself because we get so caught up in our children that we absolutely lose our own way because we want our children to be a certain way.
Yes.
So yeah, so it's
Say
several.
something real quick on
Yeah.
this particular part. So for the majority of my life, except for probably like the last 5 years, actually, I was on my birth certificate. It says 1838 or 638. When I came in, right? So I was talking to my mom one day. She was like, "It was 2 in the morning." It's like, huh?
Yeah.
That could be anything, So what is so important, when you
To
have
talk to the elders to get as close to the real.
as
Absolutely.
possible, because every 2 hours,
It changes.
that
It's a different personality.
it's totally different. So yeah,
And
that
you know, yeah.
comes up. But so the
And
thing
I
is,
think we need to do a whole class around some of this, right?
yeah,
But this
I was
one,
going to say, because the parents may not know their own, let alone
Right.
how to coach their children.
yeah.
Well,
But
they
you know, I
Unfortunately.
learned a lot of stuff teaching my children.
how to figure it out themselves. That's what I,
Yeah. I learned a lot.
learned how to do,
Mhm.
because I realized certain things I was riding one way, but something else kept resonating with me. Pisces kept resonating with me. Aries,
Mhm.
and based off my birth certificate, and I was like, so just like there's so many books, there's so many different things out there, but we have 360 degrees of knowledge. So it's so important to tap into what you are, because you have that information within you. So I wanted to put that out there.
Absolutely. And then we're also going to be sharing because the winter solstice, I mean, this is the eve. This is the
Juicy.
eve, y'all. Right. This is the eve, and this is such a juicy. I mean, if nothing else, put you on some binaural beats tonight. Don't get you some. Get in the tub. Who is that talking about? Detox bath or your whatever that is. This is just a great high energy receiving, right? So we're going to put a few of these out, just telling you 10 things to do during the winter solstice. Watch documentaries, write personal notes, pull back from social media, write your 5-year plan, talk less, do some forgiveness therapy, study at YouTube University. So if you don't know what we mean by forgiveness therapy, go on YouTube, type in forgiveness therapy, right? And then also focus on your optimal health. Walk in nature and daydream. Today, I bundled up and went and walked in the snow.
Mm.
I just wanted to,
Yeah.
I just wanted to go walk in the snow. It
Michigan
was
is so
snowing.
beautiful.
It felt so good. And then I just had my earmuffs on, so I let the water hit the top of my head, and it just, somebody said, oh, it's too cold to be outside, but it felt refreshing. It was just being in nature. So we'll be sharing this, and then it's one more document, and then so what else do you all have to share? Because I'm gonna share this last document. What else is
I do
there?
have to share.
I wanted, oh,
Okay. I do have to share my the Namashi, it's a 13-month calendar to help you stay aligned with the energies that are coming within the planet. So the Namashi compass serves as a revitalized ancient sacred circle, namatized to bring awareness to the subtle vibrations of air, earth, water, fire, and ether Everything is vibrating energy like the oceans and frequencies. Our thoughts, emotions, and actions are ripples in this ocean. Your attention is your currency. Put value on what you give your attention to. The first new moon after the spring equinox, the earth spirals around the sun for approximately 365 days, revisiting 13 constellations. In sync with all tides of the earth, the moon shines and hides in a series of 8 phases for 13 consecutive months.
9
Each
o'clock.
moon or month carries a sheet or a vibration or frequency. The Namashi compass is a gauge of these frequencies and provides the best time to ritualize, practice, to honor space, energy, self, earth, and ether. So we say we're Nama, Nubarians, Al-Moroccan, Moorish, Yamashi, American Native, Amur, Washita, Moors, Didugdamunya, a combination of all the indigenous, the original indigenous that started the planet. So this is our Namashi compass. You can scan the code and order it. It's an amazing tool to have.
Amazing tool. Mine is right there. Amazing.
Right here. So the full moon, it's in the middle of the sage month. And so we in the heart of, we going into the solstice, right? But right here, because it's 13 months, it's not, it's a little off as far as the Gregorian, but we ain't gonna even have that conversation. But right here, we just came through the full moon. So we're right. So 2 days, what was it? 3 days after the full moon, where we at? So whatever the moon looks like outside, the compass actually shows you what that, you can use the compass and it goes around and continues on. So our year actually starts the first new moon after the spring equinox. And so we're in the sage energy and of course the dragon. So definitely you can go on my Facebook page and also see the scan as well.
Wonderful. What were you going to say too, Dr. And Ushas, I wanted also to acknowledge you because that was one of the products that came out of our recertification process. Wonderful work. Wonderful work. Thank you.
Our voices.
Yeah. Voices are required. That was our topic.
Required. Yes.
Yes. What were you saying, Dr. Tammy? Were you getting ready to say something?
So yeah, I don't have a presentation, but just really quickly wanted to emphasize the importance of creating a spiritual practice. So that way you can stay in tune even after the solstice is over. You can stay in alignment with the creator, whoever you believe in order to, one of the things Alanda talked about was stay consistent so that you can grow, so that you can learn. And then, the big thing for me is, as well, is hit a detox. That is the fastest way to be able to get into alignment because you're not constantly distracted and self-soothing because of life happening or whatever have you, taking you further away from your authentic self. So that's all I wanted to add to that.
Wonderful. What about you, Kiana, Alanda?
So, so I just want to say, because I know you would a couple times you mentioned, Lenny said it started from the bottom, now we're here, and then you were talking about kind of like people who don't have money thinking they can't start. So I just definitely want to say start from where you are, start with what you have, and sometimes to get courage, spirit will take away everything from you. I've been there many times. I'm a Scorpio sun. I told you guys. So
Scorpio's got to always be peeling.
Always. So sometimes in your darkest moments, sometimes in what we call rock bottom is where you find courage, where you can get over shame, guilt, and fear because everything has been taken from you. And then this is just the time for you to step out on faith and start with where you are. So like Muda already said, YouTube University, Google University, books, follow the coaches online. You might not can't afford to pay a coach yet, but you will. And you following the coaches, and most of the coaches that's always doing things like this. So you can get free information and knowledge to see like, okay, this is what they're doing. This is what they're saying. Oh, Tammy posted this about health. Oh, Lenny posted this about business media. Like you starting from the bottom, you may need a business coach, but maybe you don't have it right now, but you can start where you at. And Lenny's giving you tips on how to do that. You may can't get a detox yet, but Tammy's giving you tips and she's going to say, hey, put that down, put that heroin chicken down and get that watermelon, right? Like I'm gonna tell you like, hey, this is what you need to do. So we give tips on like, you need to affirm yourself, you need to be inspired. And sometimes just seeing people do these things, like making your resources work for you. So yes, we have technology, we have social media, but what's on your social media news feed? Are you following these coaches? Are you getting these good tips? Are you letting that feed your soul? Start with where you are and find the courage in that dark space to do what you need to do to take care of yourself and then take care of your family.
Absolutely. Yes. Bravo. Alanda?
To go off what Kiana was saying, I also would like to say stop chasing trends. There's a bottleneck when you go with these trends. When you're going after where everybody else is going after, you get it stuck in a bottleneck and you won't see results because you're trying to get something what somebody else have. So definitely you got to find out what resonate with you. Because one thing I can say about all of us coaches, what you see is what you get. But the coaches you have been seeing online, what you see is what you get. I'm not on here trying to sell a blah, blah, blah platform and you too can get the same thing. And I have this success. I want you to see who we are. You see us, you see what we're doing, and it's not going to be trendy, but is very informative. And it is to help you be an impact to the rest of you, to the rest of the people around you. This is not about being the best at, being the richest and keeping up with other folks or making sure somebody else get revenge. You trying to get revenge on someone. This is about your journey. It's 100% about the individual journey and how do we get step away from all these things. And tomorrow, the solstice, to practice that definitely will put you on that path. Definitely, because daydreaming, and I thought about something we saw daydreaming. That was visualizing. That was us doing visualizing and actualization.
Yep.
And we were taught to get away from it. And so it is so important to just, if you sitting just wandering off, do that. It's nothing wrong because we have been just on and on, just being on this autopilot, basically, to keep us into daydreaming thing. Oh, and so that, like, just, I agree with everybody, what everyone is saying, and just follow us, keep up with us. We do this twice a year, and coming up in January,
Actually, we do it 4 times a year with you.
Is it 4 times? Oh, right, duh, right. Masterclass, right. I'm my bad, right. 4 times a year,
Right.
3 in between.
You have us doing the equinox too now.
I didn't I? I thought that was you saying. No, I'm just playing.
No, that's you. That's you.
I think
you have us doing the technology stuff. She have us
right.
Yeah.
But so I really believe that we are going into another realm. Like we've been talking about the dimensions and all that. There are people that we would not be able to absolutely help. So let's start there. We are most important. The trends are going to take you away from your essence, and stop trying to reach out. Stop trying to save people who don't. Just hold space for them. But this journey is about you and who can come behind you and pick up the breadcrumbs, because you got to leave some crumbs, because that's the only way they're going to find the space you're holding for them.
Okay. All right. What was that last thing, Dr. Tammy, you were saying?
Oh, so the level vibrations, that beautiful chart that you had created, and we discussed all the different levels of vibration.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to encourage everyone to take a look and just see where you are, know thyself, and then look up and see where you want to work towards. And it's okay. It may just be to the level of courage if you're under 200. And if you are at 200, you may be, for me, it was being at the level of love and non-duality. So just take a look, assess yourself, and decide and create a goal for 2025. Yes, you says authenticity. And this is one more thing I want to add to that. In many cases, our vibration, when we came out the womb, we were way up there. But
Way
life
up there. We came out.
life happened. We came out at a high vibration. Life happened. So let's get back to our authentic selves, like you shared said. Thank
Wonderful. And I'm going to share this last document because this we have for you. Uh-oh, I was going to share it.
I say it came up. I just
It's
saw
right.
it.
Yeah, it showed. There it is.
There it goes.
There we go.
Okay. So this has you, and you know what? I apologize if I got the names wrong because I did it off the top of my head and I said, oh, I got to go back and check the names, and I didn't. So forgive me. And I'll probably check it before change it. But we talked about these this week. And most of these, like the power of your subconscious mind, you can
Mhm.
actually get that on audiobook on YouTube.
Mhm. Mhm.
You Can Heal Your Life, I think is a Kindle. You can get it on Kindle.
Mhm.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad, I think is a Kindle book. I actually, this Creating Money is one of my favorites from the 80s. I actually downloaded it the other night after I finished talking to Lotus Love because
Oh, yeah.
techniques in that book, when I tell you about creating money, it really is a creating money technique.
Mhm.
And then, of course, Think and Grow Rich.
Mhm.
That's one of my all-time favorites. And I
Yeah.
put Patiently Waiting for Nothing because three of you mentioned, I just,
Yeah.
we have the 20-year anniversary edition coming out soon, right? So it'll be
Yeah.
dropping to Amazon and I'll let you all know it. But you guys will, I think all of you have paid for copies. You will be getting your copies as soon as they come, okay?
Yeah.
Yay.
Yes, and then The Game of Life and How to Play It. That is another
Mhm.
one that's on
That's a
YouTube.
game changer.
It's my favorite. That's one of my favorites. That's definitely,
And most of these you're gonna put on repeat. You
yes.
understand? Because it gets,
Mhm.
go ahead. What were you saying, Kiana?
Oh,
You,
so I thought of a resource later that I was like, "Oh, it's a really good one. Is a miseducation of a Negro."
yes,
Um,
Yes.
and it
Yes.
talks about
Woodson. Yeah.
something Landy said had
Virgin.
made me think about it. When you were saying the mom and pop shops, and we were kind of pulled away from that, and then that book, is that Cornell West? Miseducation?
That's
No,
Carver.
Woodson.
Is
Is
that
it Carter
Carver?
Woodson?
Woodson.
Yes.
Woodson.
Well, yeah, thank you. um, but he had said in that book, he was saying that the same thing Landy was saying, that we were taught like, oh no, the mom and pop shop was inadequate, but what's wrong with selling peanuts if your dad was selling peanuts or selling hot dogs? And then if you did go to college, you come back and bring that to that space, because the peanut man was actually making wealth, was making a lot of money. The hot dog man was making a lot of money, but they shamed that to be like, oh no. And so then you want to go work in corporate. So it wasn't even a wealth conversation because the peanut man and the hot dog man was wealthy. So it was more of a shame and guilt conversation of like what Landy was saying. So I thought about the miseducation of a Negro because of
That's a
Landy
good
kind
one.
of refreshed my
And you
memory.
know what? One of my exes has consistently said to me, I don't know why you keep doing that master for stuff. You've been doing that over 30 years. You ain't made no money. You just as poor. And I said, you know what people don't understand? When you're building, most of us haven't built anything. We walked into something. So when
Yes.
you're building that foundation, nobody's paying you for your vision and your dream. And that's why you have to be the one to keep working in that vein to get it going. And then when you have people like you to come say, oh, Mo, yeah, that's that spark. Oh, they believe in me too. Oh, well, let's keep going.
Yes.
So what
Yes.
we have is the wealth is in the people. The wealth is in
Yes.
the
Yes.
knowledge. We
Yep.
have over 500 life coaches worldwide that can get this training from us when they listen here, but also they're making a difference wherever they are. Even if we don't ever hear from them, they're making.
Mhm.
because once you have that knowledge, nobody can take it away from you. But you're right. We cannot let people shame us, Kiana, into not living our dreams. Because that's exactly, it's like I don't have to match what you think I should be doing. If I want to sell peanuts, I'm gonna sell peanuts.
Exactly.
Carver.
Ashe.
So and we'll post these post these in the group, and that's all I have tonight. And I can't get enough of thanking you all for your time. I mean, your time. If I were paying you, you would be rich right now, because you spend so much time, not just in doing this, but in the prep for this, and the things that we do outside of this to bring this. It's no small thing. It really is. It just moves me so much to have you all in my life, because you make me grow.
Give thanks.
Mo, the last day you're gonna make everybody cry.
Right.
I'm trying to get better.
With this, the solstice, the moon. We got
Yes, all this
to
energy.
give
It's
thanks,
beautiful.
because tears are always a cleansing.
Yes.
But I just want to thank you all, and thank you for your contribution. And I love that we record this, because we can always come back to it. We can always share it, and it always matters. So
Yep.
Thank you, Mo.
Thank
So,
you.
Thank you. We
Thank you to
appreciate
all the
Down in the
you.
books.
Y'all know I follow. I'm liking everything. I'm loving everything. I'm supporting everything, because y'all are thebomb.com.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
now,
Thank you.
I gotta say this. When I put this out in the group,
Mhm.
and I was like, "This is all girls. This hold up." And so then, did y'all see? I sent the message to the guys like, "Hello, hello."
Hello.
And do y'all see this
Wow.
topic? Do y'all see we doing this topic?
Wow.
Crickets.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
so it's very on time, because really energy of wealth does flow through receptivity, which is
It
a
does.
feminine quality.
Feminine energy. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I'm grateful that you guys you said yes, and we all did what we needed to do. And we miss you, Lotus and Miss Legault, but we held it down.
Indeed.
Yeah,
Thank
absolutely.
you so much. This
Indeed.
was awesome. This was
Thank
much
Yes.
needed. So
Much
much
needed.
needed. And I'm telling you, like,
Yes.
and I just want to say personally, just the conversation of money, or just what we've been doing, I have not felt like in fear of like where it's coming from, where it's not going to come from,
Mhm.
and it's so different that when like I just woke up like, oh, I'm not worried about that. You know what I mean? Even
Yes.
It could be a pain in your stomach.
Change
yeah,
the vibration.
yeah,
So
and just
currency is
sleeping and
able
all
to
of these.
flow now.
Yeah, and it's just, and it's other things that I'm like I'm experiencing, and I realize like some detachment, like someone said earlier about detachment. But she told me to write it down. I forgot to write it down. About being able to detach from things that we thought we need, or connections we thought we need,
Yes.
and being able to wake up one day and just feel like, huh, I don't see the world like that anymore. You're like, I don't see that,
Yes.
because who I was, what I was connected to, had me always thinking about this what ifs and what, and even when I go out now, people are seeing that they like, you look different. Like, oh,
Aw, isn't that a
what's
good
going on? You
feeling?
look different,
Mhm.
and it is
Get lighter. Yeah,
yes,
lighter.
and that's what the word, like, you look lighter. And so I'm like, oh, this is what it feels like, because that's a courage, to be able to be by yourself, to go on a journey without pulling people with you, like, come on, we're gonna do this together, and not realizing this weight of people that don't want to they really don't want to go, but they'll go because you ask them to. But this has been amazing this whole week, and I thank you for this. Thank you
Thank
guys.
you.
Yeah.
Yes.
I agree. Hmm.
Yes,
Wonderful.
absolutely. All of that. I'm always so grateful to sit and listen to all of you, and you encourage and motivate me. And I just appreciate the sacrifices that you all made and putting your materials together and just really putting your heart and souls into it because, as you all know, as coaches, when you're coaching all the time, I need refueling. So I look forward to Ignite Your Soul
Yes.
Yes.
every time we get on so that I can get some fresh wind so I can keep sowing into the community. So thank y'all. Love you. Appreciate you all.
All right,
Wonderful.
you guys. This is a wrap for Ignite Your Soul Connection Winter Solstice 2024. I will let you know when you share us in Atlanta, decide what we're going to be doing in the spring. I get my working papers.
Definitely we'll have a new compass out for the
Yeah.
spring.
Yay.
Okay, wonderful. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. We love you all.
Thank you.